Hello, this is Watch It All About with another watch review. In this review we're looking at a new brand called Brathwaite, and we're looking at their first model called the Classic Slim wristwatch. As you can see, it's definitely a classy and slim watch, which is good. Mainly focused on being a dress watch, but also with something a little bit different. They offer it with NATO straps instead of the usual bracelet or leather strap. So in this regard, it creates quite a unique appearance, which is nice. So let's have a look to see if it's a good value for money at $150. Now, one of the intriguing things when you look at their website is they use what's called transparent marketing. So they basically tell you exactly how much every single aspect of the watch costs them, the total costs, and then how much they're selling it on to you, and also how much the watch would be worth if it was sold on a high street. So according to their website, they reckon that the watch costs them $75 to make in total. They sell it on to you for $150, but if you were to buy this in a high street, it would cost you, a good few $100s. They reckon about $500. Now, I find it quite interesting to see how much each different aspect costs. So as we go through the review and look at the different parts, I'll mention how much each part costs. So if I take it off, firstly, then talking about the size of the case. So it's 40mm wide and 7.5mm deep. So it certainly isn't a massive watch, which is good for a classic, classy, elegant watch. Certainly easy to fit on a wrist and under a cuff if you're wearing a jacket or a suit or a shirt. Thanks to the relatively short lugs as well. Let me just take this strap off. Thanks to the relatively short lugs, it's got a short lug to lug length, and it means that if you've got a fairly small wrist, then you'll be able to pass this off easily. I've got a 7.5-inch wrist, just for reference sake. So the size of it is perfect in my opinion for a classy watch, which is always good. So thinking about the case itself, without any strap attached, just the head, it's actually only 37 grams, which is incredibly light. That's mainly because of the quartz movement. Automatic movements weigh a lot more. So it is extremely lightweight. When you've got one of these NATO straps on, it's still only 47 grams. So it is really, really lightweight watch, which means it's really comfortable to wear. You basically, you don't even notice you're wearing it, which is a good point in my eyes. So thinking about the case itself then, the whole case is plated with rose gold. So first of all, the case costs $9.70 supposedly, and then the rose gold plating itself costs $11.25. So in total, the case costs about $20. The finishing is all excellent. It's actually quite hard to get decent pictures of it because the polished finish is really, really reflective and shiny. So it really does give you the impression that it is really high quality. Something interesting they mention on the website is the thickness of the rose gold plating. It's 6 which means 0.006 of a millimeter. Usually 1 provides a couple of years of lifetime before it starts rubbing away. So with this being 6 theoretically it should last you about 12 years of constant wear before it starts wearing out. So that's if you wear it every day, obviously. So realistically, the plating on the steel case should last you a very, very long time. And by the time it runs out, you can just buy another one because it's, at the end of the day, not that expensive. So yeah, the finishing, the machining of the case is all very, very good. The corners are all perfectly machined, very, very soft. And it's just really impressive to see finishing of this quality on a watch that only costs you $150. So it is very nice. Thinking about the case back, as you can see, leaves a lot of fingerprints because of the highly polished finish. So the case back is very simple, just like the rest of the watch. So we just have the details around the edging and Brathwaite in the centre. It's all nicely engraved and really deep, secured in by 4 screws. So you'll notice also the shape of the case is wider at the top than it is at the bottom. So this, when you're wearing it, it makes it appear even smaller and thinner than it actually is, because it's only 7.5 mil thick anyway. But because you can't really see the sides, it makes it look and feel thinner than it is, which aids to the nice, classy wearability of the watch. So looking at the top, we have a sapphire crystal, which is 1.9 mil thick. So it gives a nice thud when you tap it, which is nice and reassuring. You know it's decent quality, and that costs $14.50. So it's the most expensive single aspect of the watch. It's quite domed, as you can see. There's a fair bit of distortion once you get to a certain angle. It does have a layer of anti-reflective coating on the underside. You'll be able to see it there. It's like a slight blue hue there. I don't find it to be the most effective at reducing reflections, but it is nice to see a blue hue when you get the light right. It makes it look a little bit more expensive than it actually is. So the crown is very small, as in probably only a couple of mil wide, but it's not so small it looks stupid. It actually matches the design of the watch well, I think. And obviously it provides fairly good grip to change the time easily. It's just a push-pull crown. It's unsigned on the end, and that's all polished just like the rest of the case. So all in all, the case itself is really good. I really like it, and it's quite impressed me actually with the quality of machining. So the lugs are 20 mil wide, so you can, if you don't fancy one of these NATO straps, you can easily fit your own leather strap, or you can buy the Brathwaite leather strap. So fitting one of these NATO straps is dead easy. You can literally do it within 10 seconds, so you just do that. And then you slip that through there, and that's it. And that's ready to go. So I actually quite like having the choice of the 3 different straps, because you can change it depending on what you're wearing, which I know is quite a feminine thing to do, but it's quite interesting to do actually, to have a nice option depending on what you're wearing. So thinking about before we move on to the strap, we can have a look at the dial. So the dial, just like the case, is surprisingly well finished and well made. It's a slight off-white beigey colour, which is nice to see, and it's very minimal. The only printing on it is the logo in the top, Brathwaite, and then the printed minute tracker on the outside. Personally, I think they could have made the logo a little bit more interesting, but that's just a personal preference. I feel that it would have made the watch stand out a little bit more. But all the printing on it is... I'll just wipe off my finger marks. The printing on it is very precise, which is good. I like the applied hour markers. Again, they're the polished rose gold plating. And actually the dial itself, forgot to mention, costs only around $3.75, so it's not the most expensive, but then it is rather simple. But it is impressive that with that you're paying for the applied hour markers and also the hands. So the hands are also polished rose gold, and they have a nice little 3D effect. You can see if I get the light right, they're slightly raised in the centre. And these are very well made and finished as well. And as you can see, there's a red second hand which matches the red stripe down the centre of each NATO strap. So that's a nice follow through of that design feature. It's good that the second hand is different style as well, because on some classic watches the hour hand and the second hand can be quite similar, so it's quite hard to read. So all in all, the dial, although being simple, is very well finished and excellently executed. So that's really good to see on a watch costing this much money. So moving on to the NATO straps, obviously you do get the choice of 3, and here they are. So you get the green, purple and a blue. They all come with a rose gold hardware to match the rest of the watch. Again, very well machined. The plating is excellent. Obviously they are polished, so they can be quite susceptible to scratches, but they have held up surprisingly well. I think it's mainly because when you're wearing the watch, it doesn't actually sit directly on the bottom of the wrist, as you can see here. It sits slightly to the outer side. So if you are leaning your wrist on a desk, it doesn't always rub on the desk. So that ensures that it doesn't get scratched that much. And then we have this loop here, which is also rose gold plated. So it's reassuring to see that they've followed through the rose gold theme onto the strap. The NATO strap itself is also very high quality. It feels good, and it's really comfortable to wear because of the lightweight aspect of the strap. Like I mentioned before, it's only 47 grams for this whole thing with the watch and the strap, so it's really light on the wrist, and because it's so comfortable, you barely notice that it's there. So all in all, a very good watch for the money. Everything's very well machined, very well finished. So let's have a look at the watch under a macro lens, and we'll see it close up. Okay, so let's start with the case itself then. I'll just give it a good rub. So here's one of the lugs. There's the crown. So it is very nicely machined and finished for the price. Excellently, the polish finish is really good. If we look at the case back. So I think the movement itself is a quartz movement, but it is Swiss made, which is nice that they put that in because it costs a little bit extra. It's a Rondo movement, which costs them about $10. They could have easily put in a cheapo Chinese or Japanese movement, which would have cost them only about $2. But it's reassuring to see that they didn't. They made sure that they've got the best quality materials in the watch. Thinking about the sapphire crystal as well, they could have easily put a mineral crystal in, but it's good to see that they didn't. So looking at the dial now, see the printing is absolutely spot on. Look at the hour marker right there. The minute track. Again, all the printing is nice and exact. The applied hour markers, very elegant and thin. Again, excellently made and applied. Nice polished finish to them as well, so they reflect the light well. And then looking at the hands. So I see the shape. The two main hands are just a very thin arrow, with a dumpier arrow as the counterweight, and then Second hand is a red lacquer thin stick. So yeah, all very well machined and made for the price. Let's just have a look at one of the straps. So you can see the quality of the NATO. It's all very well stitched together. And if we have a look at the buckle, again the finishing is excellent. And then the loop. There we go. All the machining is very well done, no sharp edges anywhere, which is good. Okay. So, just put it on one of these straps. So I really like what Brathwaite have done with this, especially the way they've marketed the watch. You know, telling you how much every single aspect of it costs. One thing I did forget to mention, actually, the NATO straps themselves are costing them $5.80. So considering you can buy a NATO strap from eBay for about £6, £6, it's actually appears to be a pretty high grade strap, 20mm wide as well, so you can fit a wide variety of popular straps on the Brathwaite if you want. Unfortunately, I didn't get a leather strap through, but I think it would look really, really good on a brown leather strap. So personally, I love it. I think it looks great in a suit or even in a more casual setting, mainly thanks to the inclusion of the NATO straps. I think that's a good idea. But it also removes the usual problem you have with affordable watches in getting a really rubbish leather strap. So instead you're getting a decent quality NATO strap, which is good, and then you can source your own leather strap, which would be better quality. So all in all, it's very impressively made, excellently finished. Personally, I think that it will be great in the future if they bring out an automatic model. I'm pretty sure that will be an instant success, even more successful than I'm sure that this model will be. So there you go. I would highly recommend it, and I think it's a great watch for $150. Okay, so this was the Brathwaite Classic Slim wristwatch, and that's what it's all about.